All right. Well, here we are. Welcome, Howard Givens,
Hi there.
Spotted Peccary, the the,
Happy
uh,
to be here.
the main head peccary man here. Been you know really at the forefront of this music for so many years. I mean, we met each other in Tucson when you lived here. What was that? How many, like 35 years ago or
Yeah, I
something?
was in the 80s. Yeah.
It was right before Dreamtime or right around that time.
Right around the Dreamtime return time period. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You were just
In fact, it
finishing
might have
that
been
up.
when I flew over for the first promotion to do that with the guys here when they were based here in Tucson, which they still sort of are. But
Right.
well, in any case, you're in Portland now, and I know you just did your set with Cheryl and Craig. If you want to
Yeah. Yep. Cheryl Modvi Davy and Craig Padilla.
right, and they're both artists on your label. And
They are. Yeah.
there's so much we could talk about for hours based on how deep we are into the music and how long we've been doing this. But at this point, the piece that a lot of people know you for as well, besides being one of the founders of Spotted Peccary, and then of course your own great music that you've been doing for years, is that you've really dedicated, an immense amount of creativity and passion into mastering um, the artists in the genre. And in my case, you've been mastering my music now for I don't know how many years, maybe. But how do you have an idea on when we
Oh
got back?
gosh. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
I
So
think the first thing we did was the remaster of Structures from Silence. So it was
right. So 5-6 years at least, maybe more.
yeah, right.
Directly working in close contact like that. So um, can you share like your philosophy of what you are really so passionate about in terms of what you bring to the table when you bring on a project, and because your scheduling is so um, dense and you're have so many different uh, um, tendrils pulling you in different directions, and so when you bring in something, I know there's a certain criteria where it really has to light you up and you feel connected to it because you're putting so much heart and soul and time into it. But can you tell me what you bring to the table when you bring on a project and start entering into it at that level for master?
Sure. And, it's really more about the same thing the same approach that we have towards creating the music as ambient electronic artist composers is kind of the same thinking that goes into the mastering process as well. It's really about listening to the space between the notes and around it, the sound stage, the depth, all the other things that I think is really, really essential for making this music translate and have a great conversation with the listeners. So, trying to discover and even further unearth this subtlety in the music so that each person has the most amazing experience with it. So that kind of approach, the approach that we have with the music and the composition and the recording and everything else that you do and I do and other artists, that's the same approach to the mastering. So it's quite a bit more of a hands-on approach rather than the traditional sense of mastering where all you're really doing is balancing levels and making sure everything is very consistent. This approach is a bit more aggressive, and it sometimes you really have to get in and really work it to encourage the music to come forward and to have its own voice in its own place.
I know the passion that you feel for that is like I've never seen before. I mean, the level at which you'll just with me where we go, and all the way till
Yeah.
1 o'clock last night. Files
Yeah.
coming back and forth and fine tuning, and I mean the devotion is deep, and so we all deeply appreciate that. So
Thank you. Yeah.
with
Likewise.
thank you. At this point in time, with the with digital medium being like that's really where the focus is, and how has that and how does that change with the picture for mastering when if you know that you're creating a digital only release where it could be played on anything from a small little bug ear speakers to a full on, high end system. How do you approach that in terms of finding a happy medium that's going to work in the wide range of playback mediums that we have now?
Well, we try, I think that I think it's the same approach as it's always been. You try to listen to it on different systems and small speakers, big speakers, and try to, um, uh, um, I guess, find a way to make that work for anybody, anybody's system. Obviously, there's always there's always an exception, but you make your best effort to do that. But the process towards digital and analog or whatever, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, it's still about making the sound right and balancing the bass, getting the depth and everything out of the bottom end without overloading a system, or making sure that the top end isn't really shrill and edgy and actually lose some of the depth of field that happens when certain frequencies are pushed too aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it happens a lot in electronic music, obviously. I mean, electronic music, we tend to lack, just, from the very beginning, we're lacking that sense of space because we can create things in an artificial environment. And so you kind of almost approach it like the electronic instruments or the electronic composition is really an acoustical presentation in an acoustical space. You're approaching it in the same way, and just make it sound good.
Right. Well, that you're doing. So again,
Thanks.
great appreciation for that, and really look forward to your set. And
thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's work. This is really an exciting festival that you have championed and put back together again. So this is great.
Yeah, and who would think, that many years ago that this would be the scenario we would be in? But that's, we're going just headstrong right into this thing, and there's a lot of positives coming out of this time. And I think the idea of doing these concerts at this level in our environments would never have been something that has become so exciting and really vital. I feel also with the nature of how many great performers and artists there are out there that aren't able to travel or tour, or just the drama of taking all the gear out and all that, which I've certainly paid my dues in that way. But I love the idea now of having the live streaming room that's permanently set up with, at any moment you just fire up the cameras and capture an amazing performance, and then that changes everything. And we just talked with Chris Meyer, and we're all feeling that excitement around now that we have this new paradigm that will continue on even when we can get back out again. But meanwhile,
totally.
Meanwhile, I just really appreciate everything that you've brought to the table here. And here we go.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks again, Howard. And we'll be
real honor to be involved with it. So thank you.
Yeah, same for here. So thanks again. And,
all righty.
We'll be on Timeroom TV one of the nights. So can't wait to share it with our audience out there. Take care.
Thank you.